Nice morning, everybody. I'm pleased to see you again, to have you with me again. We start today with Act 3, Scene 2, Scene 1, with the most famous line of poetry ever written in history. To be or not to be, that's the question. أنت كله محتم ترجمة أن تكون أن أكون أو لا أكون هذه هي المسألة هذه هي القضية. This line of poetry, as I have just said, the most famous line of poetry ever written. The line, this is part of a soliloquy. This is the beginning of a soliloquy. Soliloquy, al-munajah. This is a technique, a Shakespearean technique, in which the figure or the hero or a human being speaks to himself alone, without nobody hearing him or overhearing him, as though he is speaking to himself or expresses his mind openly. To be or not to be, that is the question. This is a very important question, a very important issue. It is a matter of death, a matter of life or death. مسألة حياة أو موت. Some critics believe that this soliloquy in Hamlet cherishes the idea of cherish. Cherishes the idea, يعني cherishes يعني thinks of, think deeply. Cherishes the idea of committing suicide, killing himself, because he no longer, though we are in the beginning of the conflict, yani you are in Act 3. This is in Act 3. The event is the climax. We are ascending towards the climax. احنا طالعين باتجاه the climax of the conflict. The climax of the conflict. To be or not to be, that's the question. To be or not to be, that's the question, a grammar issue. To be or not to be is the question that is deletable, which means that to be or not to be functions as a noun. The infinitive here functions as a noun. To be or not to be is the subject, is the main verb, the question is the complement. يبقى subject, main verb, عشان تتعلموا شوية جرامر، هاي الفيرب، هاي الكومبلمنت. من ناحية الجرامر، من ناحية ايش؟ الجرامر. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it's nobler in the mind to suffer, it is much better for a human being with a noble mind to suffer alone. The slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, slings means shots. And arrows, you know what's the meaning of arrows, siham, of outrageous fortune. Outrageous fortune. Fortune means fate. There are referring to fate and fortune is so frequent throughout the play, from the beginning to the end. We are in front of, or we are facing in a way or another, we and the central character We are facing fortune, fate. Another word for fate, or doom, or doom. This is how Hamlet understands the conflict. The conflict. Outrageous fortune. Outrageous means arbitrary. Arbitrary. Which means inconsistent. Inconsistent. Or capricious. يعني lacks wisdom. Lacks wisdom. This fate is capricious, متقلب أو نزوي. Fortune is being described here as arbitrary, inconsistent, capricious, best translated into متقلب أو نزوي, or lacks wisdom. أو changeful. في كلمة كويسة, changeful. Changeful. These aren't good epithets. These aren't good epithets to be used to speak about fate or about fortune. About fortune. Or to take arms against a sea of troubles. To fight, take arms means fight. A sea of troubles. Underline the word sea of troubles. بحر متلاطم الأمواج من المتاعب. Troubles, ordeals. Troubles. I want you to learn as many words as possible. Troubles means ordeals. آلام ومتاعب. Pains, aches. Ordeals. And by opposing in the troubles, by committing a suicide in the trouble I am undergoing or I am experiencing. You know, Hamlet is overwhelmed. Is overwhelmed. Is overwhelmed. منغمس جدا بالمشاكل. Overwhelmed with, yes. Yes, اكتبها هان. Burdened. Overwhelmed يعني burdened. Overwhelmed with difficulties. And by opposing in them, to die, to sleep. This is his first estimate of death. To die, to sleep. To die means is to sleep. بعد شوية بفكر more profoundly. It turns out finally, ultimately, that to die is very much different from sleeping. There is a big difference between dying, death, and sleep. No more. And by asleep, to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks. In sleep, we evade the natural shocks, our troubles, the heartache. وجع القلب. heart ache. شايفين قديش صعوبة الحال؟ وجع القلب heartache. تعبان خالص at heart، مش قال سابقا I am sick at heart. الخربان في قلبه، لما بخرب القلب خلاص مصيبة، وصل العفن إلى الهارت. To die, to sleep, no more. By asleep to say, we end the heartache, the thousand natural shocks. That the flesh is our too, that our bodies are subjected to. It's a consummation. Consummation means conclusion, نهاية. Consummation end or conclusion. الموت نهاية الأشياء. It's good if death is the consummation of everything. But for Muslims and Christians alike, death is not the end of everything. It's a new beginning. It's a new beginning. بداية جديدة. Death is بداية جديدة. حياة جديدة. Whether in hell or heaven. ديروا بالكم احنا امام شخص متدين. يعني هو مسيحي في الأساس. Devoutly to be wished. This consummation is true, devoutly, truly. Devoutly means truly. This is a true wish. This is a true wish. Everybody wants to be fulfilled. To die, to sleep. To sleep, perchance, to dream. ماشي لحد هيك الحلم كويس. بتنام بتحلم. ايه there is the rub. المشكلة قصر عنده في الأحلام. there is the rub. بده ينام وبس بده يحلم بده يصير عنده nightmares. rub means difficulty. You see how he starts with a simple matter regarding death. Death begins in the beginning of the soliloquy is an easy thing that helps ordealed persons, overburdened persons, or overwhelmed persons to sleep. It is very much like a sleep. With the progress of the soliloquy, there is a rub. There is a rub. There is a difficulty in sleep, namely having dreams. شخص يفكر بعمق شديد. reflection عنده. reflection تأمل شديد. المشكلة when we sleep we have dreams. We have dreams. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come. When we have shuffled off this mortal coil. Shuffle means shift. Shuffle means shift. When we get rid of our bodies, نتخلص من أجسامنا. الموت ما بخلصنا من أجسامنا وبصير إحنا الروح. When we shuffled off this mortal coil. المورتال coil means disturbances. Troubles. لما تخلص من هذه المتاعب اللي بتحيط بالجسد must give us pause. These dreams make us pause, make us stop. Stop from what? Abstain from committing suicide. الآن ما منعه عن committing suicide هو الدريمز، النايتميرز. واضح من السلوكي انه هاملت is not resolute. Hamlet, the more he thinks, the less resolute he becomes. The more Hamlet, خذوا القاعدة هذه، the more Hamlet thinks about a matter, the less resolute he becomes. The less resolute he becomes. كل ما زاد تفكيره في مسألة ما وعمل ما بتقل قدرته على اتخاذ القرار. ما أوقفه عن الموت هنا the dreams he might have while asleep. Must give us pause. There is the respect. The respect. Respect here. Respect means consideration. Respect means consideration. Respect means consideration. هذا هو الاعتبار، هذا هو يعني مسألة. تمام؟ that makes calamity of so long life, which makes our sufferings, our calamities continue for a long period of time. هذا ما يجعل متاعبنا تستمر طويلا. For who would bear the whips and the scorns of time? Who would bear the whips and the scorns of time? Time might be another word for fortune. احنا عندنا في الإسلام لا أحد يسب الزمان، لأن الزمان هو الله، ولم يقصد الوقت بالوقت إنما الفورتune. To wear the whips الجلدات، وscorns احتقارات. The oppressor's wrong. The oppressor's wrong. Who would bear the oppressor's wrong? The wrong done to us by the oppressor. wrong الظلم. هنا wrong الظلم injustice. الظلم. من سيتحمل الظلم done to us by the oppressor. oppressor المضطهد. tyrant. المضطهد الطاغية. هذا في إشارة للحقبة التاريخية أنه الحكام كانوا طغاة في ذلك الوقت، طغاة جدا يقتلون الناس. The proud man's contumely means contempt. من سيتحمل الاحتقار الذي يبديه الطغاة ويبديه المتكبرون. proud arrogant. proud مش بمعنى الصحيح الحلو. proud arrogant. Noble minds, noble people, courageous people wouldn't tolerate such wrongs done to them by tyrants and oppressing people and fate. The pangs of despised love. Pangs, اللي هو pains. Pangs and pains. Pangs, pains of unvalued love, unreciprocated love, another source of affliction. حب لا غير لا يبادلك إياه أحد. The law's delay, these are the evils Dane was witnessing at that time. Law's delay, legal delay. Law's delay, legal delay. التأخر في المحاكم، في القضاء، legal delay. All sorts of evil deeds. Hamlet is speaking about several or various sources of wrongdoing or injustice. The insolence of office, insolence, disrespect. Insolence, disrespect. قلة الاحترام, indignity. Indignity, disrespect. And the spurns but the scorn, the spurns, that patient merit of unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make. quietus ليش يتحمل طالما الإنسان قادر على تسديد هذا الدين والانتهاء منه. quietus. Quietus means repayment of debt. إن الواحد قاعد يسدد الحساب، ليش يضلوا هيك؟ might his quietus make. How to pay the debt? By using a dagger. A dagger to kill oneself. بس يكون خنجر. استخدم الخنجر وخلص وفكنا من هالقصة. With a bare bodkin. Bare bodkin. Mere bodkin. Bodkin means dagger. Another word for dagger. dagger. المسألة مش محتاجة إلا dagger بس. Who would fardels bear? Fardels, burdens. Fardels means burdens. مين بيتحمل هذه المتاعب كلها والآلام؟ مين؟ He is suffering beyond limit. He is suffering beyond limit. He is true to himself. ديروا بالكم، بتكلم مع حاله، ما بتكلمش مع حد تاني، ما بيكذبش على حدا. He is speaking to himself. That's why we say that he is true to himself. This is the way he believes that he is leading a very painful life, fighting a sea of troubles, fighting fate, fighting time, fighting the state. The grunt, to grunt and the sweat under a weary life. Weary means tiresome. Weary means tiresome. Tiresome. To grunt, murmur. Grunt means murmur. To grunt means to murmur. And the sweat. Sweat ينال الحرق بيعرق. Sweat. Under a weary life. But that the dread of something after death. هذا هي. But that is the dread of something after death. هنا مخافة أن يحدث شيء نخافه بعد الموت. يبقى it's not يبقى هنا he ends with the soliloquy with death is not like sleep. Death is not like sleep. There is something to be dreaded, to be frightened, to be dreaded, to be frightened in the hereafter world, في العالم الأخروي. إيش مشكلته؟ إنه nobody comes back from the hereafter. ولا واحد يرجع من العالم الأخروي. اللي بروح never comes back to life. ما حدش قال لنا ايش في تحت الارض، ما حدش قال لنا. This is a human plight. هذه المسألة. This is a human plight. This is a human plight. بيقولوا حتى أن الموت أريح. إذا كان في الموت راحة، والموت هي راحة للمؤمن. لأنه lives in heaven. But that the dread of something after death. The undiscovered country. Death is likened here to an undiscovered country. بلد لم يكتشف بعد. And will never be discovered. Undiscovered country. From whose born? Born يعني boundary. Born means boundary. حدوده من هذا الحدود ما حدش اجى راح ما حدش رجع. No traveler returns. لم يرجع احد. Puzzles the well. Puzzle confuses. Puzzle confuse. Confuse. The well noun. The will إرادة ورغبة الإنسان. The will. The more you think about death, the more death becomes fearful to you. The plight of humanity is that nobody knows what is there in the hereafter world. العالم الأخروي بالنسبة له. The more we think about death, the more death becomes fearful. I am finished up till now. I'm finished now. After 5 minutes, we come to continue the discussion of the whole scene.